Hello, it's Connie from Faff Designs. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a furniture painter and I'm also a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle paint. Sorry for the noisy birds being in the background. Today I'm going to flip this chair. I found it in a charity shop. It was a little bit faded and worse for wear, so I've given it a little bit of a fresh new look with a couple of Dixie Belle products, and now I'm going to use it as a staging prop. Okay, so the first thing, as always, is to give your piece a really good clean. Even if the piece looks clean itself, it's usually got a build-up of cleaning products or grease from hands, grime, fingertips, oil, those kind of things, which if you don't clean off and you just go straight to the sanding part, you can actually drive those oils and grease and grime and dirt into the wood grain, which basically affects the adherence of the paint onto the surface. So to get all of that off, you need a good degreasing cleaner. I'm using Dixie Belle's White Lightning, which is a granulated product. You add it into water and it dissolves, and then you have a really strong cleaning solution, hence the attractive rubber gloves that I'm wearing now. And then when you've cleaned your piece upside down, inside out, back to front, you then need to rinse off the cleaning product with clean warm water. So I've just changed the water out. I've got some nice clean warm water in the bucket, and I'm just going in with my microfiber cloth and just giving it a good rinse off to make sure there's no white lightning left on the surface of the chair, which again, any product that's left on that will obviously affect the adhesion of the paint. The next thing I'm going to do is give the chair a light scuff sand. So I'm using 220 grit sandpaper on my electric sander. I'm using my electric sander because I'm sanding inside, and I always use my electric sander because it's a little bit quicker. But with chairs, especially with spindles, you can sand by hand, and it's just as effective. So all I'm doing is just scuff sanding the surface. I am not taking this back to raw wood because I'm going to use a stain and paint combo on this piece. So I'm using no paint gel stain, which you'll see in a little while. And with that product, you can actually go over the top of existing finishes. So I'm going to basically just scuff the surface up a little bit just to provide a little bit of grip for my product to hang on to. And also, it just makes your surface really smooth. So because this chair is second hand and it's aged, there are sort of slight imperfections on the surface, and scuff sanding just makes sure that those imperfections are smoothed out and you're applying your product onto a really nice smooth surface. So as I mentioned, you can do this by hand. I'm just finishing off the spindles with a rad pad sanding sponge, just because my electric sander is quite bulky and it won't reach in all those kind of nooks and crannies. So I'm just going in with a sanding sponge and again, just giving it a really light scuff sand. So last thing we need to do before we can apply any product is to just take any dust residue from sanding off the surface of the chair. So I'm just using a microfiber cloth and rubbing it all over. I'm not using cleaning product on this. This is just a damp microfiber cloth just to remove any bits of dust on the surface. So I'm going to be using one of the brand new stains from Dixie Belle paint. It's no paint gel stain in the colour Golden Ash, and I'm going to be applying it with an applicator pad. No paint gel stain is an oil-based stain which can be used either over raw wood or it can be used over an existing finish like the one that I'm doing here. So I haven't had to sand this chair all the way back to raw wood in order for this stain to be applied. You can use it over the top of existing finishes. So I am using, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm going to be using a combination of paint and stain on this piece just to give it a little modern twist. And all I'm doing now is just applying that no paint gel stain quite thinly over the top of my chair, making sure that I've got a really nice even coverage and that I haven't got any big sort of blobs anywhere. And the really nice thing about this tone of varnish is that it's just going to give a little bit more of a modern sort of colour to this piece. So the varnish was quite faded and dated on this, although I love the shape of the chair. So this is a really, really nice contemporary stain colour. Obviously the stain will vary depending on the colour of the wood that you're applying it onto, and also whether you're applying it over the top of an existing finish like I am, or whether you're applying it over the top of raw wood. So a little bit about how you apply no paint gel stain. It's really quite easy, and all you need is either a cloth, a rag. You can apply it with a brush as well, although I find it easiest with an applicator pad. And all you do is put a small amount of product on that pad and just wipe it on. So it's a buildable product, which means you can add multiple layers, which will intensify the colour if you want to. I'm just looking for a light coverage on this. I just want to refresh this chair. I don't want to change the colour all completely, and I also want to be able to see the wood grain through this stain. If you apply it thickly, obviously the wood grain is going to be less visible. The other thing you can do with no paint gel stain, even though it is an oil-based product, you can add an additional top coat over this. You can add any of the Dixie Belle clear coats over the top, but what you must do is make sure it is fully dried before you do that. So I would recommend waiting at least a minimum of 3 to 4 days, if not a week, before you apply a water-based top coat. And that would just offer slightly more protection than just leaving the no paint gel stain on its own. For the purpose of this, I'm not going to be adding a top coat because I'm only going to be using this as a staging prop. I'm not actually going to be using it to sit on. It's not going to get used. So I don't need to add a top coat. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So you remember me saying I was going to use a paint and stain combo on this piece. And I'm going to be using Silk All-in-One mineral paint in the colour Anchor, which is a true jet black. And I've taped down each spindle. I've measured equal distance down each spindle, taped it off, and I'm going to paint down to that tape line to give a kind of a dip look. And I'm going to do the same on the feet as well. A lot of people struggle with spindles. Obviously they're quite fiddly, and you can also get drips and runs in the paint. So my advice is, where possible, to use a round brush. Round brushes are perfect for spindles, and also use as little paint as possible to eliminate the risk of getting runs in the paint. I've measured the same distance from the floor up the legs of each chair and taped off those as well. So I'm going to get a dipped effect on the top and a dipped effect on the bottom. And as you can see, I've used a paper plate because I'm working on top of another piece of furniture, and a paper plate just allows you to go all the way down to the floor without picking up bits of dog hair, in my case, off the floor, and bits of dust. It just lets you get all the way down to the floor basically without picking up fluff. So I'm going in with the second coat of Silk All-in-One mineral paint, and it covers really well in one coat. The majority of the colours in the Silk range cover really well in one coat. But I'm going in with a second coat just to give that intense jet black look that I want to be in contrast with the stain. Arguably the best part about using masking tape is peeling it off and getting those really nice crisp lines if all's gone according to plan, which I'm happy to say it did here, because obviously we'd only used really thin coats of paint, so we didn't get any bleed through. And I'm just basically removing all the masking tape before the paint's dried completely. So here's a reminder of what it was like before. Don't judge the paint on the floor. Here's a close-up shot of the wood grain that's just been brought to life with that no paint gel stain. And here's how I staged it, the final piece. And I'm really pleased with it. Thank you for watching this short video. I hope you liked it, and hopefully it'll encourage you to never overlook a single odd chair in a charity shop again. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one.